They may defend against a single blade. Against the flood, not so much.
Blackout Wetworks is the new update for Call of Duty's Blackout, and what it is the map has become flooded because, as you guys saw in that cutscene there, Spectre has blown up Hydro Dam at the top of the map, and this has changed many things throughout the map. So what I thought I would do is make a comparison video looking at the entire map before the update and after, and looking at what is different, what is the same, and everything in between. We've done this before and you guys seem to really like it with the Blackout map update. So all I ask is, if you do enjoy this, I would love it if you could hit that like button. And before we dive into the Blackout map, I just wanted to let you guys know that I will be streaming later tonight. We'll be using the new Tiger Shark LMG. We'll also be playing as Spectre, and the link to that will be the first link down in the description. And as always, we will be doing an open lobby. So if you want to play some Black Ops 4 with me, you want to check out that new weapon, first link down in the description. And in fact, I am starting the stream right as this video goes live. So if you see this video, I am live streaming. And like I said, first link down in the description. Hopefully I see you there. So I actually don't think the biggest changes are to the dam, but let's start there because that's where it all began. So starting off with the backside of the dam where the water reservoir used to be, as you can see, the water level is very high. If you look at those little, I don't know what you call them, pillars before the dam, you can see that there's only really like 3 or 4 windows visible on those pillars. However, once we switch over to after, you can now see that the water level has lowered. There's much more of those pillars visible, and on top of that, there's a giant ass hole in the dam. So of course, this is one of the biggest differences out of the entire map, and when we switch over to the other side, you can once again see this to a further extent. And when looking at the after here, you can see the giant hole in the middle with one of the pipes going down towards the water is of course completely broken off. Now, also on top of this, you may notice that the lighting is a little bit different. The water is actually a little bit more blue. Now, the one thing I will say is the water isn't as high as I thought it would get. I thought it would honestly go all the way up to the edge of the buildings, but honestly, the water level didn't raise that much. In fact, it appears that the water's raised maybe 5 to 8 feet. As you can see, the bridge here that used to be there is now completely destroyed in the newer version of the map, and you can see the water pretty much going right up to the bottom of that bridge. Now, moving towards Grandma's house, this is another area where you can see really how the water level raised. As you can see, the arch of that bridge there, no water is touching it, but when we look at the future version of it, you can see that the water is grazing the bottom of that arch. So once again, only raising about 5 feet, and in no way does this actually affect Grandma's house here. All it does is you're going to have a little bit longer of a swim if you're crossing the lake here. Now, it's really weird. It appears as though the river is kind of raised more or less in certain areas. As you can see, the train bridge here, it's only raised like a foot or two at this point. Now, the next area that's a really big difference is by River Town. As you can see in the original version, the water doesn't really go up to the bottom of the covered bridge. However, in the new version, the water almost goes all the way up to that little town area on the left and all the way up to the bottom of the bridge. And on top of that, the right side of the bridge here is totally destroyed, so you can now drive through that area with a boat. Now, moving over to the other side of Rivertown, this bridge that we just went under is completely destroyed, and this area is totally flooded. In the old version of Rivertown, this used to be the docks. There were the warehouses there, there was docks where you could dock your boats. In the future version, not so much. It is completely flooded, and even those buildings, the warehouses that we were just talking about, are half full of water. Now, the thing is you can still get loot from in there, but of course, you got to be careful because you're going to have to do some swimming. So when this first happened, a lot of people thought the entirety of the farms was going to be messed up, but as it turns out, it's only really the southwest corner of the farms. As you can see, the bridge is destroyed here, but they have appeared to build a road over the bridge. However, going towards the southwest side, you can see that this farm here is completely flooded, and of course, because of this, all of these crops here are going to be completely destroyed, and it's going to be interesting to see where they go with this going forward. Now, like I said, this is is really the only section of the farm that's totally flooded and is going to make a difference. But there's definitely some houses here where you're going to hear some noisy and wet footsteps. So all in all, this southwest corner of farms is definitely one of the areas they made some bigger changes to. And it's really going to be interesting to see where they go after this. Are they going to dry up all the water, or is it going to continue to get worse in future iterations of the Blackout map? Also, on this side of the map, there used to be this red house that was right on the edge of the water. It is now half covered by water. Now, the area over by Boxing Gym used to be one of the thinnest areas of the river. Now, it is more like a marsh leading up to the Boxing Gym. Now, on top of that, this area of Rivertown used to be nicely lined by houseboats around this bridge here, pretty much going almost all the way to Factory. However, in the future version, these boats have been ravaged by the flood and all of the docks in this area completely destroyed. In fact, one of the houseboats actually got pushed up an aquifer, kind of going towards Turbine, and the houseboats distributed evenly across the water. On top of that, this bridge was once again completely destroyed, and they had to replace it with this weird type of bridge. Now after this, there's not a change for a little while until we get to Factory. Factory has been completely flooded. The water has gone over the edge and flooded all of Factory. If you walk anywhere on the ground, you're going to be splashing around in the water. And honestly, I think they did an incredible job with this, and I think it was thought out since before the release of the game, because off to the one side of this map, there is actually a drain that drains into the water. This is what has overflowed and flooded the entire area of Factory, and it makes this area play completely different, because basically, if you're running around on the ground, anyone throughout all of Factory can hear you, and I think that's a brilliant design, and it actually really does change the way that Factory as a location plays. Now, this is absolutely one of the biggest changes that they made, and until we reach the ocean, the only other thing that's different is various houseboats scattered throughout the rest of the river and even going in towards the ocean. Now, once we get to the ocean, the water levels have not raised at all. However, there are some big changes, the biggest of which is, of course, cargo. This area has completely changed and is totally different than what we previously saw. So to start things out, there used to be a giant boat spanning the length of cargo, standing tall with cargo containers on top of it. Now, not so much. The boat has flipped over, cargo containers spilt into the ocean, and it doesn't look like that boat's gonna recover anytime soon. An absolutely massive change. However, it doesn't stop there. The entire area of the cargo docks has been flooded, and flooded so much that once again, cargo containers have been knocked over, spilt into the ocean, fallen, and it looks completely different than it previously did. Now, the main structures of the area remain the same. The circular thing in the middle, the main buildings, even the portables stayed in the same spot. However, with it being completely flooded, it totally changes the way it plays. Speaking of which, one of the other cool things that they did with this update is the cargo containers. They spilled out into the ocean, and what actually happened is as they went out to the ocean, they spread themselves along the coast of the entire map, going all the way up to construction. Along the coast, there is now shipping containers that not only have loot in them, but you can also use to grapple onto or climb along to move faster in the water, which is, I think, a really interesting way of changing up the way the map plays. I'm also curious to see what comes of this in the future updates to the map. Are the cargo containers going to be lost out to sea? Are they going to be pushed up on shore and the entire beaches are going to be covered in cargo containers? I don't really know, but I am interested to see where they take that. Now, the weirdest part about this entire update is Hijacked. Now, we know that Hijacked was located on this peninsula right here and was there since it got put into the game. But now, it's gone. It's no longer there, disappeared from that area, and is now actually up towards the northeast corner of the map, with no explanation as to why. Was it trying to get away from the cargo containers? Was it pushed there, which wouldn't really make any sense? Why did it move? Is it making room for something to come? Nobody really knows why Hijacked was moved, but I would love to hear your theories as to what you think down in the comments below. Now, the other and final thing that changed is the beach by construction. The beach by construction is now completely flooded. All the lifeguard watchtowers, change rooms are completely flooded and the beach has disappeared. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That is every change made to the Blackout map in Operation Spectre Rising. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and if you did, I would really appreciate it if you could hit that like button. If you're new to the channel and like what you see here, it's always appreciated if you could hit that subscribe button. And of course, if you want to be notified whenever I upload a video, make sure you turn notifications on as well. But guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace out.
We are reaching for the stars, but we're making this too hard.